What's up, guys? Welcome to the line change. Well, it is April 10th, about just a little after 2 o'clock in the morning. So by the time you guys watch this, and for those of you that are sleeping while I'm recording this right now, if you don't know already, the Canucks are officially and mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. Little nugget / note. This means the Canucks have not made the playoffs back-to-back years in over a decade. So they make the playoffs last year. They make it to the second round. Everyone was hoping they'd make the playoffs again this year, but they do not. And as you saw by the title of this video, we're going to go over what went wrong for the Canucks this season. So we're going to go down a list. We're going to talk about all the things that went wrong. You can agree with the things that I list. You can disagree. You can have your own opinions on it. If there are things that I happen to miss, go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below. And let me know. But these are just things that I think went wrong for the Canucks. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. And let's start off with, well, the big one, at least in my opinion. The JT Miller and Elias Pettersson rift. So obviously that is something that most certainly went wrong. Because if you think about it, last year, no one even really talked about the Pettersson-Miller rift or the fact that they didn't like each other. Yes, people talked about it the season before that as it had come up, but last year, not a single peep about it. And there's probably a reason for that because, one, Miller was having a career year. Pettersson was having a great first half of the season, and the Canucks were winning. The Canucks came out hot right out of the gate. Brock Besser was having a great season, so the Canucks were winning, and things were all hunky-dory in Canuckland. So no one even talked about there being a reason to have a rift between the two players. So yeah, that is definitely a big reason or a big thing that went wrong for the Vancouver Canucks this season, and just how drawn out the whole Miller and Pettersson thing was. Like, it was way drawn out and mishandled, as well as, I will admit the media has a little bit of fault when it comes to the Miller Pettersson thing because they blew it out of proportion. They made a big deal out of it, but clearly it affected the on-ice play for the Vancouver Canucks. It was a distraction for the team, and it started affecting, the Canucks games and how they played. It wasn't just affecting Miller and Pettersson. It was affecting the entire team in the end. So it was a detriment to this season. Now you're still going to have your, detractors or people who would be like, oh, it's Miller's fault. Oh, it's Pettersson's fault. You're still going to have those people who are going to, have that opinion. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, essentially the Miller Pettersson saga, drama, rift, whatever you want to call it, is one major thing that went wrong for the Vancouver Canucks this season. Let's move on to another one. Injuries. That is most certainly something that went wrong compared to or that went wrong this season. You had Hughes out, you had Demko who was out, you had Besser who was out, who had that concussion earlier in the season. Pedersen's out right now, and you also have Hedl out right now. But I would say the major three, maybe four, is Hughes, Demko, Besser, and EP40, who were all out with injuries. Now, if you really think about it, last season, the majority of the Canucks, at least star players, were healthy for the majority of the season last year. The Canucks did not deal with a whole lot of injuries last year. And obviously this year has been the complete opposite. There was a stretch where Miller was injured while he was still here. There was a stretch when, Hughes is injured, Besser is injured, Demko is injured. Obviously late into last season was when the injury bug hit us with Demko, but that was like the tail end of the season. For the majority of the season, Canucks had all their star players healthy, and then this year's the complete opposite, like I mentioned. Do you guys think this was a factor in what went wrong for the Canucks this season? Do you feel as though they got injury lucky last year and then was the opposite this year? They had a bad luck this year when it came to injuries. I'm not going to completely blame what went wrong for the Canucks this season solely on the injuries, but it definitely played a part, and you can't deny that it played some form of part in the Canucks' bad season this year. On that note, underperformance of certain players like EP40, Besser, Miller, and Höglander. Yeah, I mean, obviously the big one out of those four is Elias Pettersson, and just how he was a year ago, or well, in the first half of last season, how he came out hot right out of the gate, was putting up points, and then something happened. Then the All-Star break happened, and he fell off a cliff, essentially. Obviously Besser as well. Besser having a career year last year, scoring 40 goals, finally hitting that 30 plus goal plateau that he had been unable to reach up until this point. Miller, of course, had a career year last season, getting his first 100-point season, having been just 1 point shy. What was it, a couple of years ago? And he was able to hit that 100-point plateau. He was underperforming at the start of the season too. He wasn't the same guy. And there were stretches where he wasn't the JT Miller of last year. And then, of course, you have Nils Höglander, who played really well last year and was, I mean, I don't have his stats directly in front of me, but Höglander had 20 goals last season? Let me actually just quickly check that. Wait for it to load. Oh, okay. So he had 24 goals last year. He had 36 points last year. Nils Höglander. So yeah, he kind of dropped off at the start of this year. They expected him to elevate this season after putting up 24 goals, and he underperformed. So I definitely think that is something that went wrong for the Canucks. The fact that their star players underperformed for most of the season. Especially guys like Pettersson, Besser, and Miller. Now, this one's a little later on, I would say, but I do think it is something that, people are going to talk about when they ask the question, what went wrong for the Canucks this season? But it should be a talking point, despite it being later on in the season. And this is, again, just my personal opinion, but not doing anything at the trade deadline is something that went wrong for the Canucks. Do I think it's a major factor in them not making the playoffs? Not necessarily, but it is something that contributed, perhaps. Could they have filled that second line center role and replaced JT Miller at the deadline? That's going to be a question that's probably a lot of people are going to be asking in the offseason. Should they have done something at the deadline? And if they had, would they be in a playoff spot right now? So that's one thing. This is another one that I thought of. The Canucks' defense was not good, at least going into the season. Obviously, they had lost Zadorov. Their decor was not good during the first half of the season. It was really, really bad. And then, granted, they managed to turn their defense, that something that was wrong or that was going, that was not, trying to word this, that was wrong for the Canucks. It's what was going wrong for this team. It was, not allowing them to win games. It was costing them games. And they went out and they fixed it at the deadline, or just before the deadline, trading Miller to the Rangers. They got Marcus Pettersson. They also got Mancini. They called up Petey, and their defense is a lot better than it was at the start of the season. So here's another one. They threw away too many points. Their overtime record, 13 overtime losses. And then here's a little nugget. Had the Canucks been able to convert even 6 of those 13 OT losses into wins, they'd be in a playoff spot right now. So that is most certainly one major thing that went wrong for the Canucks, and that was their overtime record. The fact that they had 13 overtime losses, they're up there when it comes to most OT losses this season. They're like second, I believe, last I looked, because I believe actually I have it right here. Yeah, Calgary has 14. So they jumped ahead. So Canucks are second worst when it comes to OT losses compared to the Flames, who just recently lost in overtime. I believe it was last night. And then speaking of overtime losses, and or overtime records, the Canucks' home record, 16, 15, and 7 at home. And that is the third lowest home winning. They are the third lowest home winning team this season. Only Chicago and San Jose are worse than them on home ice. And that is a major, major turnaround from last season. Last season, they were one of the best teams at home. They had racked up so many wins at home. They were, they were near if not at the top, they were near the top when it came to home records, to their home record this season. The complete opposite. So I don't know what went wrong there, but that, but if you want to talk about what went wrong for the Canucks this season, this is a major talking point right here. Is their home record is most certainly something that went wrong for the Canucks this season. Here's a little fact as well. EP40 has been on the ice for 34 goals for and 36 goals against, a differential of -1. So we mentioned, we talked about Pettersson underperforming. There's another stat right there. He was on the ice for 36 goals against this season so far. Now, granted, he's out. He's injured right now, but he hasn't played. But in the games that he's played, he's been on the ice for 36 goals against, which is not good. Another thing that went wrong for the Canucks, in my opinion, this season, PDO. And then for those that don't know what PDO is, it is a stat that combines a team's on-ice even strength shooting percentage with their on-ice save percentage over the course of a season. Now, last year, the Canucks had a very, very high PDO, especially at the start of the season. So, and a lot of that you can contribute to puck luck. So yeah, their PDO was super high, and it's not easy to sustain a high PDO. So that contributed to all those wins last year, and it was just puck luck. Their PDO was super high. The Canucks actually ended up finishing with a PDO of 1.028 last season. I could not find what their PDO is right now, but their PDO has definitely gone down since last season. It's not as high as it was last year. But questions for you guys. Do you guys think that the PDO essentially regressing compared to last year? Do you believe that's something that went wrong for the Canucks? They just weren't getting those lucky bounces that they were getting last year during the season. Just see. I think I have more. Yeah, we already talked about the injuries. Miller Pettersson drama. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to see if I'm missing anything. No, I think I got everything there. Okay. So yeah. Well, I guess that's gonna do it for this video. Once again, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think went wrong for the Canucks this season. Do you guys agree with some of the points that I made that went wrong for the Vancouver Canucks this season? I'm gonna do another video that is going to be opposite of this video, and it's going to pertain to this off season as well as next season. It'll most certainly be a lot more optimistic than this one. I also hate to be, put this video out literally a day after the Canucks get officially eliminated, but it was I mentioned in our live stream from the last game, from the game against Dallas, I had already been thinking about and planning on doing this video in particular. And I thought I was going to be doing it yesterday. But the Canucks ended up beating the Stars. So that's why we're doing this video today. Also, for those of you who've been watching of late and have seen me promote the Canucks Army Watch Party that is happening at Greta, obviously it's now that game against Colorado tomorrow, well, technically today or later today, is meaningless, but I'm still going to be at Greta for the watch party tonight. As we mentioned in, I believe, our live stream video, general admission is now free. So come on down to Greta and watch the Canucks play. I know, as I just mentioned, it's a meaningless game, but hey, you get to have some great food, great company, some great. There are weekly drink specials going on at Greta. You have the arcade surrounding the bar, so you can play some games, maybe in between periods or something like that. And you get the chance to hang out with me, Matt Sekeres, Blake Price, David Quadrelli, perhaps even say hello to Jeff Patterson, and others a part of Canucks Army. So come on down later today to Greta. Doors open at 5, puck drop at 6. 50 West Cordova is the address, and I hope to see you guys there. Once again, if you guys see me just sitting around, sipping a beer, or don't hesitate to come say hello. Greta Bar, let the games begin. Follow us on social media at Line Change Van on Twitter /X, at The Line Change on Instagram. Search The Line Change on Facebook, at the.line.change.po on TikTok. And then I'm going to quickly do my online store promo. I'm going to have to find it. There we go. So once again, we have our own online store where you can get T-shirts, mugs, baseball hats, iPhone cases. You can get jackets, hoodies, and then right now we are running a opening week /launch sale that ends on Sunday. So you've got about 3 days left of the sale before everything goes back to regular price. Go ahead and support the Line Change. Get your Line Change merchandise. At the Line Change podcast.threadless.com. And get them while you can, especially while the sale is going on. I mentioned in a previous video that we have another collection that I'm working to try and get put up onto the store. It's going to be Canucks skate themed, like color wise and whatnot. So definitely check that out once it goes live. Obviously, I'll let you guys know once it does. And yeah, so that's going to do it for this video. As always, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to The Line Change, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Stay up to date on all your latest Canucks news, content, as well as other NHL related news. Also, if you'd like to become a Patreon member, go ahead and join our Patreon. You can find the link in the description down below. Join our Discord as well. Be a part of the conversation. The link to that is also in our description down below. And that's going to do it for this video. As always, I'll see you guys in the next video.